The NASCAR Cup Series playoffs are here, and today I'm gonna fill out my bracket. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to a special episode of Out of the Groove. Sunday night's Southern 500 at Darlington will mark the first race of the 2022 playoffs. In roughly 10 weeks, we will crown a new champion at Phoenix Raceway. This week, everyone's been making their playoff picks, their championship 4 predictions, and today, I'm gonna join the party. I've studied the numbers, I've had some late night shower thoughts, I've slept on it, and I think I finally have the perfect bracket planned out. I'm gonna go round by round and I'll attempt to justify why I eliminate the drivers I eliminate. I hope you guys have fun following along at home. Before we get to it though, here are the actual playoff standings as we enter the postseason. Chase Elliott, the regular season champion, far and away the top of the list. Meanwhile, Austin Dillon, who just snuck into the playoffs thanks to that win at Daytona last weekend, is 16th. What stands out to me on this list is that 5th place, William Byron, is only 9 points ahead of last place Austin Dillon. That's not even a whole stage. In the 4 or 5 years we've had this exact playoff format, I'm not sure we've seen this tight of a grid from like 3rd, 4th, 5th place on back. Usually the first round is kind of easy to predict. There's 2 or 3 guys that you're like, they're not moving on past this round. This year, it's too close to call. Even Chase Elliott with his 40 playoff points is one bad race away from being on the chopping block. So this first round is going to be very interesting to watch. These playoffs are sure to produce excitement, drama, heartbreak, triumph. Today, I'm gonna make my predictions. Let's dive right in. First, we'll start with the round of 16. Darlington, Kansas, and the Bristol night race, not the dirt race, the concrete race, my favorite track, back in all of its glory as a cutoff race. I think Chase Elliott, Joey Logano, Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, Kevin Harvick, I think they make it through this first round. Tyler Reddick, Ryan Blaney, Denny Hamlin, I'll move them through. Ross Chastain, I'm a little worried about Bristol because I think there are a lot of guys out there that want to pay Chastain back when it matters most, and Bristol's typically a place to do that. But I think if any payback comes Ross's way, it may wait until a later round. So I have Ross sneaking through this first one. Gosh, that means I only have 3 more spots. I'll sneak Austin Cindric through. Yes, he's a rookie, but he's been pretty consistent the last couple of months. He actually has the 8th best average finish of all the playoff drivers over the course of this entire season. In this first round, you don't need to be the fastest. You just need to execute, maximize points, and Cindric has actually done a decent job of that in recent months. Trackhouse has been the breakout team of the season. I'm going to put both of their guys through the first round. Daniel Suarez makes it to the round of 12, which means I have 1 final spot. Let me eliminate some easy ones. Austin Dillon, great that he got that win at Daytona, and actually his average finish this year is not terrible. It's actually the exact same as his teammate Tyler Reddick's. But Dillon is in the deepest points hole of everybody, and while his average finish isn't terrible, I don't see him going up there and collecting a lot of stage points, so I can't pick Austin Dillon to make it. If you're an Austin Dillon fan though, remember 2020. He began the playoffs that year with I think a 2nd at Darlington and a 4th at Richmond. He ended up making it to the round of 12 that year, so it's in there. It's in Austin Dillon. He can do it. I'm just not the most confident. The other driver I can pretty easily eliminate is Chase Briscoe. I love Chase Briscoe, but he has 0 top 10 finishes over the past 12 races. That's not good. That's not getting it done. I'm sorry. He has the worst average finish of all the playoff drivers this year. Somehow he won 4 stages. Like, that's actually one of the most of anyone in the playoffs. So it's been a weird year for Chase Briscoe. That win at Phoenix was great early in the season, but he just has not been good lately. He gets eliminated. So that means I have 3 drivers for 2 spots. Hendrick fans, you guys are going to hate me. Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson have been really fast this summer. They both won races recently. Where is William Byron and where is Alex Bowman? Maybe they've been testing some new things, and now that the playoffs are here, they'll turn it back on and show winning speed, but boy, I have seen no indication that they are remotely close to championship contenders. Bowman has won top 10 in the past 12 races, just like Chase Briscoe. William Byron, meanwhile, has won top 10 in the past 18 races. These are Hendrick Motorsports teams. I'm sorry, but those results are unacceptable. Sure, there's some hope if you're a William Byron fan. He almost won that Darlington race in the spring, got knocked out of the way by Logano with 2 to go, led some laps there. He also led some laps at Kansas earlier this season, so there's hope. But boy, that Darlington and Kansas race, those were months ago, and Byron, Bowman have shown no speed in recent weeks. I'll give Kyle Busch that final round of 12 spot. It was tough. It was really tough because Kyle Busch has not been good lately either. But Bristol is in this round. We know Kyle Busch is great at Bristol, 8-time winner. I know he finished, I think, 21st in last year's Bristol race, but before that, he'd finished like second, fourth, and first the previous 5 races. He's great at Bristol. That's going to save him this round. Darlington has been kind of a struggle in recent years. He got caught up in a crash this spring. Wasn't his fault. But in this race last year, he did crash himself. And remember, he rage quitted and drove through the cones and got a fine. I think Kyle Busch sneaks through this round because of Bristol and because it sounds like he hopes to have a deal done for next year within the next week or so, which means perhaps that weight will be off his shoulders. He'll be less distracted off the track, and he can focus on pursuing a championship this year with JGR. That's where my head's going. So my gut says Kyle Busch makes it through this first round, and half of Hendrick Motorsports gets eliminated. I know you Hendrick fans are screaming at me, but those recent results just do not look good for Bowman or Byron. I cannot confidently move them through this first round. I'm sorry. Let's move on now to the round of 12. Texas, Talladega, and the Charlotte Roval. This is the wildest wild card round every single season. I have Elliott, Larson, Logano, Blaney, Reddick, Bell. I like Bell. He's been consistent. Harvick, and lastly, I think there has to be a Trackhouse car that makes it into the round of 8, right? But I'm not going to pick the one y'all expect me to. I'm going Daniel Suarez. There's my round of 8. I'm eliminating some heavy weights here. I'm eliminating Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Ross Chastain, and Austin Cindric, the rookie. I think a round of 12 would be really cool for him. But yeah, some big names in there. Here's my justification. Let me start with Ross Chastain. He's been really good at road courses this year. He won at COTA, so I expect him to contend at the Roval. I also expect him to contend at Talladega. He won at Talladega in the spring, but Talladega is a crapshoot. Let's be real. Chances are he gets crashed out of that one. Texas is Texas. Who knows? Let's talk about the Roval, though. I mentioned the possibility of payback. Several drivers have pledged to rough up Ross Chastain when it matters most, when he's most vulnerable. I'm looking at that Roval race. We saw how the Chase Elliott, Kevin Harvick shenanigans from the first round last year carried over to the Roval race in the second round. I think the Roval is the perfect setting for some payback, and I think Ross Chastain's going to be in trouble. That's just my gut feel. Maybe he'll be fast enough that he can get away from Hamlin, Busch, whoever wants to do him harm, but lately they don't seem to be quite as fast as they were earlier in the season, so I'm not confident in that. I think Ross is eliminated in the second round. Denny Hamlin's an easy pick in my opinion. They've not been consistent this year. Typically a good road course racer, but Joe Gibbs across the board has struggled at the road courses. Hamlin doesn't even have a top 10 on a road course this year. And Hamlin's typically a good super speedway racer, but for whatever reason this year, largely bad luck, his best finish on a super speedway is only 18th. So Texas, honestly, is what he's looking at. Might need to win that race. And he did finish second in the All-Star race this summer, but I don't know, this is going to be a very different event. I'm not feeling Denny Hamlin. Kyle Busch, what did I just say about the road courses? He has a couple finishes outside the top 30 this year. He also does not have a top 10. We know his luck isn't usually good at the super speedways. Texas, he was running up front in the All-Star race when he cut that tire and got vaulted into by Chastain. So he's won this race recently. 2020 he won this race. So keep an eye on Texas maybe, but Kyle Busch, while he may not be as distracted by the off-track discussions, I'm not sure that'll be enough to overcome the just kind of lack of performance in the last few weeks especially. I almost had Austin Cindric going to the round of 8, and let me explain why. He's a great road course racer, and he's performed tremendously on road courses this year. He's also led laps and won at a super speedway this year, going back to the Daytona 500. And in the Texas All-Star race, as a rookie, Cindric finished 3rd. So this round actually lines up really well for Austin Cindric. I guess it's just, bias against a rookie. I don't know. I have him out in the round of 12, but the stats say he should be going to the round of 8. Easy. I've got Suarez going in because much like his teammate Chastain, he's been good at the road courses this year. He won at Sonoma. He won the first stage at COTA. Might have won that race if they didn't have a power steering issue. And Suarez ran great in the All-Star Open and finished 5th in the All-Star race main event at Texas. Christopher Bell's emerged as a great road course racer. He's been the only Gibbs driver this year to actually break through and overcome their road course struggles and get some top 5s and top 10s. So I feel confident in Bell's chances. He's been the most consistent Gibbs driver all season long. Harvick, I don't know, his late summer surge has sold me. I think he is a legit round of 8 contender. So those 2 wins, the playoff points that came with him, I think will be very important bonus points once you get into the later rounds. I think Harvick sneaks in. He's been good on road courses as well this year. Blaney's a good road racer, great super speedway racer. Tyler Reddick, he's won twice at road courses this year. And I don't know, I think Texas will be competitive. He finished 2nd here a couple of years ago. Thanks partially to pit strategy, but still. So yeah, those are my round of 12 eliminations. Let's move on to the round of 8. Who is going to the championship 4? I'm riding with Chase Elliott. He's the only driver with 4 wins this year. I'm going to put Chase Elliott through to the championship for the 3rd year in a row. And his Hendrick teammate, Kyle Larson. It's been night and day at Hendrick. 2 great fast drivers this summer, 2 lagging behind. I think Larson sneaks into the championship 4 as well for the 2nd straight season. Joey Logano's been there, done that. He's been to 4 championship 4s. Let's make it 5. I think he makes it. And that 4th spot, this may surprise some of y'all, my gut tells me Tyler Reddick in a lame duck season. Potentially. He might come back to RCR next year, but we know that situation behind the scenes is a little tenuous over there. Elliott, Larson, Logano, and Reddick. 3 Chevys and a Ford. Sorry, Toyota fans, just not this year. Let me explain my eliminations. This round has a couple of mile and a halves, Las Vegas, Homestead, Miami, and then it wraps up at Martinsville, which to me, no one knows what to expect. The race there in the spring was bad, couldn't pass. It was a total track position race. We'll see if it improves at all this time around. Probably a little, but I wouldn't bet on much. It's a tough call. Chase Elliott has the best average start of anyone in the playoffs this year. I think that leads to more stage points typically, and he's got the most playoff points already. That's going to help out once you get to those later rounds. Every point matters. I mentioned the experience for Logano. He's also really good at Las Vegas in the past. He finished 2nd at Martinsville earlier this year. Homestead Miami is a really interesting track, which I want to mention when I talk about Tyler Reddick. Reddick has won at Homestead twice in the Xfinity Series. He's won 2 championships at the track, and he's finished 2nd and 4th in his 2 Cup Series starts there. Tyler Reddick or Kyle Larson is going to win Homestead, and if we look at recent history, Tyler Reddick has a proven track record of winning big races at Miami. I still think Kyle Larson makes it in. He'll be great at Miami. He finished 2nd at Las Vegas earlier this year. I know he's only been to the championship 4 once, but it was last year, and he's still got enough speed this year. I think he can do it again. So Elliott, Larson, Logano, Reddick. Those are my championship 4. I'm eliminating Ryan Blaney. Sorry. He hasn't won a points race all season long, and once you get into this round of 8, man, you gotta have winning speed, and Blaney has not consistently proven that this season. I like Christopher Bell. He's been, like I said, the most consistent Joe Gibbs Racing driver, but he doesn't have as many wins as Denny Hamlin. He hasn't led as many laps as Kyle Busch. So again, when it comes to needing a win, I'm not as confident in Christopher Bell's abilities outside of New Hampshire, which is not in the playoffs this year. I like Daniel Suarez. If he makes the round of 8 this year, it'll be a tremendous story, but I don't believe in his ability to execute. He has not been in that many of these big, high-pressure, late-season moments in the past, and that's still a new team. They've been a little up and down this year. They've had great speed at times. I'm not confident Suarez makes it out of this round. And Kevin Harvick. Man, this is a tough one, because right now, Harvick, Kyle Busch, and Martin Truex Jr. are all tied with 5 championship 4 appearances each. Truex is out of the playoffs this year. Harvick and Kyle Busch both have a chance to take sole ownership of that record, get to their 6th championship 4. I think Harvick's got a shot at it, but as great as his recent speed has been, because it's happened so recent, I'm not sure I'm buying that it's going to last through the final 10 races of this season. He's a great veteran driver. He's been to a bunch of championship 4s in the past, but I'm not quite sold on that newly found SHR speed just yet. So I have Harvick being eliminated in the round of 8. So there's my championship 4. Boy, oh boy, what a journey to get to this point. The championship race will be November 6th at Phoenix Raceway. Elliott, Larson, Logano, Reddick, my 4 picks. Now let's make our championship prediction. Chase Elliott earlier this year finished 11th at Phoenix. His 4 races previously, he finished 5th, 1st when he won the championship, and 7th. Pretty good, pretty good. And if you look at one of Chase Elliott's wins earlier in the season, it was at a 1-mile track at Dover. Same length as Phoenix, although really doesn't share any other similar characteristics. Joey Logano has a win and hasn't finished worse than 11th in his past 7 Phoenix races, so this is a pretty good track for him. And Logano won at Gateway earlier this year, which is a 1.25 mile flat oval. Many compared it to Phoenix in a lot of ways, so that could bode well for Joey. Kyle Larson obviously won last year at Phoenix in this race to win the championship, but that was due in large part to a tremendous pit stop by his team. He finished 34th there in the spring, but if you look at his past 7 finishes, 34th, 1st, 7th, 4th, 4th, 6th, and 3rd. So all these guys are really, really good at Phoenix in recent years. And that includes Tyler Reddick, who finished 3rd, best of all these drivers, at Phoenix earlier this year. Remember Tyler Reddick's rookie year with RCR going back to 2020? He ran as high as 2nd in the spring Phoenix race before he eventually cut a tire and crashed out. But he impressed here at Phoenix. This is one of his better racetracks. Now, does RCR have the manpower, the resources, the pit crews to keep up with those Hendrick and Penske rivals? I sure hope he does, because I'm picking Tyler Reddick to win the 2022 Series Championship. That's right. I'm probably going to regret this. I'm going with my gut, and my gut says, despite the internal turmoil at RCR, Reddick leaving the team in a year and a half, maybe sooner, Richard Childress furious with the way that went down, potentially looking for his replacement as we speak. Despite that, I think Tyler Reddick's going to win this year. Tyler Reddick has already proven that he's committed to winning as long as he's in an RCR vehicle. Since announcing he's leaving for 23XI in a year and a half, he's won a race at Indianapolis. He just pushed his teammate Austin Dillon to a win and a playoff spot at Daytona. Reddick has proven he is still very much a team player, and as long as Reddick continues to prove that, I would hope Richard Childress and the team would rally behind him. I'm picking Tyler Reddick to win. Maybe it's like a home field advantage. Reddick's from California. This race is in Arizona. I guess Larson's also from California. I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's my gut. I make a lot of like stat-based predictions, but sometimes you just gotta go with what feels good, what feels right. And picking Tyler Reddick to win the championship checks all those boxes for me. There is my 2022 NASCAR Cup Series playoff bracket. Round by round, I'm going Tyler Reddick. Leave a comment down below. Do you agree with many of my picks? Are there any that stand out that you completely disagree with? Share your thoughts down in the comment section below. That is gonna do it. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any future uploads. We'll be talking NASCAR news, reacting to races, updating the playoffs, all throughout these final 10 weeks and on into the off season. So thank you for checking that out. And thank you as always to my Patreon supporters for going the extra mile and helping keep this show growing. Have a wonderful rest of your week, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you again later this weekend after the playoff opener at Darlington. The Southern 500, one of my favorite races on the calendar. I can't wait.